when someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
For nearly 2 decades, Michelle Obama's call to take the high road has been Democrats' mantra in going after Republican opponents. As Fight Club's Tyler Durden would say, how's that working out for you? Taking the high road has driven them into a ditch. Don't take my word for it. Take Charlamagne's. He's a god, after all.
My biggest problem with Democrats is it's like everything they're saying now, you should have been saying 2-3 years ago. Like, we've been saying Democrats was cowards. So, yes, y'all should have been toughened up.
So does toughening up mean getting behind people like Socialist Zohran Mamdani? Or is that just furthering Democrats' road to ruin? With us now is Dan Turrentine, former Democratic advisor and the Morning Meeting co-host, and Chris Hahn, NewsNation political contributor and host of the Aggressive Progressive podcast, which is an amazing name for a podcast. Guys, before I get to you, I want to play something you may not have heard from Kamala Harris today. Listen to this.
Hello, voters of tomorrow. I want to thank you for everything you all are doing to organize, empower, and advocate for Gen Z. I am so excited about your work.
Well, that's inspiring. Not. Dan, I was talking to Frank Luntz about this. Is this a messenger or a message problem to your mind, or is it both?
Oh, it's definitely both. I mean, look, you want to be strong. You also need to be clear and concise. I mean, look at our last 2 nominees. I mean, just in the last 4 years, Joe Biden was largely out of sight and out of mind. And when we did see him, to be charitable, he was struggling. Kamala Harris, I mean, everyone makes fun of the fact that she had a lot of word salads, but part of the problem is you have to inspire people. You have to let them know why you're running, to be president or whatever, senator or governor. We don't have a message. We don't have messengers right now. And from a character attribute standpoint, we lack across the board.
And Chris, is it as simple? I mean, I'm always hesitant, these simple solutions like Democrats just need to find their Trump. But I do think there is an element of kind of the Trump's willing to fight. Even if I don't agree with him, he gets up there and fights. Is it as simple as Democrats need to show some spine, even if it's on issues where the public might not entirely agree with them?
Chris, you've been listening to my podcast. I think that Democrats need to show fight all the time. I think our message needs to be simple. It needs to be broadly appealing. We can't get into the weeds. We can't be putting a white paper out that addresses every single point that every specific special interest in the Democratic Party wants addressed. Got to be simple, and you got to show fight. I think Kamala Harris's biggest problem in 2024 was the lack of fight, with the exception of the debate where she showed a lot of fight. Yep. But she needed to be doing that the entire time. Donald Trump, again, I think you're right. There are people who don't agree with everything that Donald Trump says, but they agree with a little bit of it, and they think he will fight for it. And I think Democrats got to show that.
So that Charlamagne the God clip we played, that was Pete Buttigieg he was talking to. Another 2028er, to my mind, is getting it more right than Kamala Harris. Listen to Gavin Newsom.
They're not screwing around. We cannot afford to screw around either. We have got to fight fire with fire. And I'll close on that point. What more evidence do you need in the state of California in the last just 6 months? Warrantless raids all across this state. Conditioning, threatening to condition disaster aid on the basis of politics, not on the basis of principles and the needs of people.
They're not screwing around. We cannot screw around either. We have got to fight fire with fire. Is that a good message, Dan, for Democrats right now?
Yeah, it is, except one nuance. Fight is not a strategy. It's good to be intense. It's good to speak with clarity the way Gavin Newsom is. And I think it's one of the reasons he's having a moment right now is he went into South Carolina. He stood up to the bully in Donald Trump in a very clear and concise way. But I think the party gets wrapped around the axle that we have to kind of stand up and scream. Look, in Congress, we have a problem because Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are terrified of the base. So they hear from their moderates, we can't embrace Mamdani. We can't embrace, some of these crazy ideas. And the base is like, do something. So they're paralyzed. So we have to have a strategy that's smart and at the same time be clear about what it is we're trying to achieve.
Chris, I wonder, I've been struck by Newsom. I will admit, I've covered him a long time. I did not think he had this in him. I've been struck by some of the things he does well, including this. But one of the things I wonder about, we talk so much about fighter versus passive, liberal versus conservative, or liberal versus moderate in the party. Are these the wrong, I mean, is this just about like someone who is, one word, authentic? And I don't know if that's Gavin Newsom, but is authenticity the name of the game, no matter what these other frames we talk about?
I mean, you show me an authentic politician, I'll show you an excellent actor, okay?
Yeah.
So let's be clear
Fair
about
enough.
that. Okay, so what I think is that you need to connect. You need to be able to understand what voters are feeling and connect with the voters, right? Mamdani, we could talk about everything that the right has been saying about Mamdani. Mamdani ran a campaign about New York City is too expensive to live. New York City is too expensive to live, okay? I do very well. It's too expensive for me, okay? So it is something that connected with voters, and that was a simple message, and he said he would fight with it. He reminds me most of Donald Trump, Mamdani, making a lot of big promises about bringing down prices that he probably can't keep. And I think that is the key here. Connect with the voters and show them that you will fight for their issues. And I would imagine that a lot of people who voted for Mamdani, they understand that he can't keep all those promises, just like people who voted for Trump.
I think
he could keep them all, but they knew he would at least try.
I totally agree. I don't even know that they expect him to keep them all. I think they just like the ambition of it. Dan, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. You're a trained television professional. Other than Gavin Newsom, who we've talked about, and Zohran Mamdani, who we've talked about, is there somebody you see out in the landscape? It can be somebody who might run for president or not. Is there a Democrat you see out in the landscape where you think, like, okay, like maybe not him or her, but that's the right message? Is there someone out there that I'm asking selfishly? I want to know who to look at.
Look, it's the number one question I get. I don't know. I mean, look, with all due respect to Mamdani, he can't get above 40% in any general election poll right now. Like, he has a problem. It's great in a 4-person race, but if this gets down to a 2-person race, he's in trouble. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, personally, I like Josh Shapiro. I thought he was great on Colbert last night, right? Anyone whose motto is get blank done and has a good track record, to me, in a swing state, like, that's great. But I think we've always thought, like, hey, it's Hillary's turn, it's Biden's turn, it's this. I'm ready for kind of Darwin to take hold here. Like, I want to see the party fight, and somebody show me, just like you said with Gavin. Gavin showed me some stuff the last few months that I didn't think he had. Who's next?
I like that. Dan Turrentine, let them fight. Dan, Chris Hahn, thank you, my friends.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.